Well, 20 years seem to have flown by. Seeing this in theaters for its anniversary was a wild experience that just punctuates how the passage of time really can get ahead of you. But hey, enough about getting old. Instead, I'm here to celebrate a milestone, to give thanks and a bit of love towards a movie that was quite important in the early 2000s. Today, I'd like to discuss and dissect the movie's defining scene. Now, to be clear, this isn't to be confused with its most iconic scene. No, see, I want to find, in my opinion, one that encapsulates everything a movie brings, and sometimes, like a single off of an album, right? It isn't one the same. The most mainstream part isn't always the best. So let's head back to the grimy grindhouse aesthetic of 70s Texas and talk shop about the one scene from House of a Thousand Corpses that makes it the cult classic we've all come to know and love. So this completed filming in 2000 but didn't hit theaters until 2003. House of a Thousand Corpses was Universal giving White Zombie lead singer turned solo artist a chance at writing and directing his own big budget horror movie. But, as it happens from time to time in the industry, after a first cut, Universal got cold feet, and fearing what they had couldn't be salvaged into an R-rated cut, they were wrong. The movie was shelved. Eventually, Rob was able to purchase the rights back, and after a deal with MGM fell through.
Then we're at MGM for a minute, and then I made some comment jokingly about MGM having no morals, so they don't have a problem releasing the film. But they didn't find that to be very funny, so then they kicked me out of there.
Lionsgate came in for the save, and thus, House of a Thousand Corpses finally escaped, though edited for an R rating, as would have always been the endgame. Now, this should come as no surprise, but spoilers lie ahead. I mean, let's be honest, there's no reason to make a video about a 20-year-old movie and be coy about it. Rob Zombie's first foray into writing/directing was a hodgepodge of influences. Hillbilly aesthetic filtered through a rock star's morbid mindset, and in doing so gave us one of the more singular visions for what he wanted his type of horror to represent. This movie is distinct and is one of a kind, at least in terms of stylistic approach. Love him or hate him, Rob Zombie's movies have their own flavor. And thinking about what moments define everything here, what scene is House of a Thousand Corpses? Now, I can make a case for Grandpa's amazing stand-up set.
You be quiet. You're gonna wake up Grandma!
And gives a little bit of credence to how funny and sort of witty this is as a black comedy horror flick. I could easily argue the long crane hole before Walton Goggins' epic death, or even the final reveal of Dr. Satan. And a quick aside, he should have absolutely been kept in The Devil's Rejects. I don't agree with why Rob Zombie cut him. This deleted scene where he bleeds out Rosario Dawson would have added that sort of missing link and kept the slight out-of-this-world feeling from House. And I know that's not what he wanted, but I do think the change in sort of style and genre was what made The Devil's Rejects so interesting as a sequel, but you should have kept Dr. Satan as a link. My opinion, but what are you gonna do? But no. The opening, as simple and to the point as it is, it's what sums up everything that makes House of a Thousand Corpses its own. Starting off with the Svengoolie-esque Dr. Wolfenstein commercial for the local station's horror host, we already kind of dig into the tone. It's corny, retro, and sets up the time period while cutting into Captain Spaulding's roadside attraction commercial. And in doing so, his introduction. We have the green-hued fluorescence in the grungy location of his horror museum/gas station, pulling back for a wide, showing its creepy location through this kind of stylized and slightly exaggerated way. Captain Spaulding, played by the always great Sid Haig, immediately garners sympathy. I'm talking, this guy is a wisecracking, shit-talking clown who seems to be on the Al Bundy spectrum of joy.
Let's say I nail the soles directly to your feet.
How come you asking so many jackassy questions?
There's a reason why this character is beloved, and it all came into itself right here. The back and forth was Stucky. Bonnie and Clyde's Michael J. Pollard is fun, weird, and absolutely trashy.
If you know him, you might understand his urges.
Worse than a rabid-ass baboon.
Now, besides some off-kilter characters, this is really what sort of refines Rob Zombie's style and look behind the camera. Of course, it started in music videos directed by him, but I feel House is that sort of perfected. Percussion takes over as we get a POV closing in on the front door. And we dolly into an angry and annoyed Spaulding. It's a robbery. And I still love, and I always will, that he puts his hands up as requested, but with 2 middle fingers. Now, as far as we know, he's an innocent, grumpy, small businessman who doesn't have time for this bullshit. But he doesn't back down. Hell, even taunts the 2 robbers.
You miserable motherfucker. I ought to jump over this counter and bash your f***ing balls in.
When the main one, Carl, mentions his hatred for clowns, there is a change. Something that makes more sense in the moments to come, but we see a darkness right here in Spaulding's eyes. He's giving up his hand and we don't even know it. See, Carl gives him to the count of 10. The music intensifies, yet he continues to berate the robber, basically daring him to pull the trigger. It's black comedy dialogue mixed with the serious and intense tone. See, this is something that Zombie nails here. And you aren't really sure what's going on. Is this clown really willing to die over pride and ego? Then we get the triple cut. Some giant man with an oversized mask and mallet bursts through the door. And this is a very odd but very zombie-specific cut here. Followed by triples of Carl.
Triples of Rotor, triples of a Nova.
And with a quick swing and gunshot, we realize that Captain Spaulding was never in any danger. No, this is his wheelhouse. His huff of that sweet smell of the barrel says it all. To quote the great Burt Gummer, these 2 bozos
Broke into the wrong goddamn rec room, didn't you, you bastard?
Now, with the haunting laugh, the blaring score, we now know that these 2 criminals walked into the lion's den and they never had a clue. But it's this last moment, right here, that sells this entire scene and sets up what makes House of a Thousand Corpses so fun, adventurous, and why 20 years later we're still talking about it today. The 3 shots to the face, followed by this line.
Goddamn motherfucker got blood all over my best clown suit.
And then cutting straight into a banger of a song. Yes, 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 yes. I'm sorry, this is awesome. There is no conversation here. This is how you open up a movie. Establish style, tone, and create one hell of an iconic horror character.
1, yo mama. 3, yo grandma.
So smoke 'em if you got 'em, pour yourself a drink, and let's celebrate 20 years of House of a Thousand Corpses. I'm Lance Vlcek for JoBlo Horror Originals, and I appreciate you stopping by. And as always, until next time.
It's been a thrill, so sayonara.